In the box of the OnePlus 13, we have of course the phone itself, which also has a pre-installed screen protector, USB-C to USB-A connector, as well as an 80-watt charger. I seriously want to thank OnePlus for giving us the entire package so we can utilize things like that ultra-fast charging, even though you may not need to do that. You'll see what I mean. And also, if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. This here is the OnePlus 13, the newest flagship, which features a huge 6.8-inch LTPO AMOLED display powered by the beastly Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, along with 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is incredible. More on that later. And of course, it also packs in a very healthy 6,000 milliamp hour battery. Guys, Snapdragon 8 Elite, 6,000 milliamp hour battery. Are you getting it? Also, I do have to say it is really impressive how they managed to get a 6,000 milliamp hour battery in a phone this thin and have it only weigh 210 grams. That's insane. I mean, seriously, I'm holding my iPhone 16 Pro Max right now, and it kind of feels like a brick compared to the OnePlus 13. On the back, we have this gorgeous new Arctic Dawn color, the 5th gen Hasselblad cameras, with all three cameras being 50 megapixel and a laser detect autofocus sensor. So now that we got the specs out of the way, how has this phone treated me throughout the week that I've been using it so far? Incredible. I mean, honestly, if you asked me, hey Mark, what do you think of the OnePlus 13 in one word? Incredible. Now let me tell you why. First of all, the operating system. Oxygen OS 15 is so incredibly smooth. Each swipe, each tap, it's like eye candy. The attention to detail is also something that I personally noticed without trying to notice. I hope that makes sense. For example, when expanding on the quick settings, look at how the date transitions under the clock as it gets bigger, or how the settings gear moves slowly to the right to make room for that additional setting. The subtle haptic feedback as you're at the top or bottom of the page, or while adjusting the brightness slider and the sun spins, and each tick gives you that nice haptic feedback to make the adjustment more accurate. The haptics on this phone, no joke, rival that of the iPhone, and that's impressive. I was always a fan of Oxygen OS. My first OnePlus phone was the OnePlus 7 Pro, and now it's gotten better and just more defined and, well, smarter with AI. It allows for things like Detail Boost, which uses AI to boost the photo. I personally found this to be useful for whenever you crop in, so instead of losing a ton of detail like before, AI Detail Boost helps bring some of that back. And what I like is that it doesn't look too artificial. You know how sometimes like you adjust a photo and it looks a little too sharp, it looks almost like it's hurting your eyes. Detail Boost, it doesn't overly saturate the photo with just a bunch of fake detail. It does it ever so subtly, and I love that. And oh hey, look at that, Circle to Search is also here. Now the cameras are obviously something that I love as well. The main camera is a 50 megapixel Sony sensor, which produces just incredible looking low light images thanks to its f1.6 aperture and large pixels, which are achieved through pixel binning. And of course, thanks to a new coating, lens flares and glares are minimized as well. The 120 degree ultra wide camera is a 50 megapixel JN5 sensor, and from what I've noticed, it actually does a really great job at straightening out those weird ultra wide distortions, and the photos coming out of it look fantastic whether in low light or in daylight. The 3x telephoto camera is also 50 megapixels, and it uses a tri-prism design, so yes, it's technically a 3x optical, but zooming in still produces great looking detail, honestly, even at 30 times. The photo isn't bad at all. There's seriously so much I want to cover about this new camera, such as the presets, the dual exposure technology, and action mode, but I'll save that from a full review just so I can tinker around with it a little bit more and really kind of, push it to the test. I also really love this display, and unlike the OnePlus 12, which I also have here, which has a curved display, the OnePlus 13, it kind of modernized it. It's a flat display with a 2.5D curve towards the edge, which it makes back swiping feel more comfortable and natural. And you can kind of see the difference with the OnePlus 12 here and the 13 here. You can see that the OnePlus 12 is seriously like curved a lot, and the OnePlus 13, I mean, that's flat. It's a flat with a nice 2.5D curve. I love it. It's so good. Watching movies on the Pro XDR display with its crazy brightness up to 4,500 nits, it looks great with colors popping out at you, and you don't really have to worry about not being able to see the display while outside on a sunny day. This display is going to be visible no matter the conditions. But see, this phone kind of takes it a step further. So if you're having a hard time, viewing the display, what's your first instinct? To increase the brightness, right? Well, yeah, but that also kind of ruins the contrast and it makes the colors a little washed out, especially if you're under very heavy sunlight. You may notice that you kind of lost all contrast. Well, this phone kind of fixes that. OnePlus implemented something called Radiant View, which dynamically boosts the brightness of each individual pixel, so contrast and saturation are always going to be looking great, which is obviously helpful for things like reading text on the screen. In fact, I believe the S24 Ultra does the same thing. It may not be, the name Radiant View, but they also have that same sort of technology, and if you guys have used the S24 Ultra outside in very harsh sunlight, well, you already know how great that phone looks like. Now, if your eyes are sensitive to OLED screens because of PWM, well, you shouldn't really worry about this phone because this phone, like I said, it just goes way above the limit. Usual OLEDs rely on 240Hz or 480Hz PWM dimming while adjusting the brightness, which can cause some eye fatigue. Meanwhile, this phone has a PWM of 2160Hz. In other words, your eyes are going to thank you. Another thing I noticed is that, well, actually, first of all, I've reviewed probably close to 100 Android phones on my YouTube channel so far. And I want to say 99% of them, as you're setting up, they get really warm because it's downloading all your information. It's pulling everything off the net, making sure all your settings are correct. The radios, the antennas are all being synchronized, updated. So of course, that's going to add heat. But this phone, I'm not even kidding, it didn't even get warm. The Snapdragon 8 Elite isn't only 45% more powerful, but it's also 44% more power efficient, which obviously means less heat. But the OnePlus 13 didn't just stop there and call it a day. This phone also has 2 vapor chambers. Yeah, 2 of them. The iPhone just had their first vapor chamber in the iPhone 16 Pro series, and I believe the Pixel 9 Pro series also, for the first time in their entire lineup, just got the vapor chamber. This phone has 2. Those 2 vapor chambers have a total area of 9,924 millimeters squared, which is even bigger than the S24 Ultra, which had approximately 6,600 millimeters squared. The vapor chamber on this phone, seriously, it actually literally rivals those on like gaming phones, those big bulky gaming phones. And this is in a normal flagship phone. Now, one of those vapor chambers helps kind of distribute the heat across the phone so you don't have any hot spots, which might get annoying if you're holding the phone. And the second vapor chamber, it actually helps to rapidly cool down the device. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, like, if you're a heavy gamer, if you're a very heavy user, dude, this phone, it won't care. You can throw anything at it. Now, remember in the beginning, I told you guys that the fast charger is really good, but you may not need it. That's because the battery life on this phone is just out of this world. Like, if you guys have seen my channel before, you know that I don't care how long a phone lasts as long as it can charge quick. Or on the other hand, I don't care how slow a phone can charge as long as it lasts the entire day. This phone just, it's best of both worlds. I am easily getting way over 7 hours of screen on time with like 30% remaining at the end of my days while I was testing the phone. Keep in mind that was with camera testing, 5G testing, cellular connectivity testing, just using the phone in general a lot because, well, I'm trying to give you guys a good review. And I literally could not kill this phone in a single day from what I was doing on it. Now, if you're insane and you somehow manage to drain the battery, yeah, the fast charger, yeah, I mean, it's fast. It's really fast. 0 to 100% in 30 minutes. That's bonkers. I mean, imagine this. You come home from work, your buddy's like, hey, we're all going out. Let's go. You're like, uh-oh, I got a shower. But then you also notice, uh-oh, my phone's dead because I was using it at work the entire day. Kind of a bad example, but keep up. So what do? You plug your phone in. By the time you take a shower, your phone is well over 50%. I mean, what? There's so much this phone can do. I'm kind of tinkering around in the settings and just using the UI, and there's so much I want to cover, so definitely stay tuned for my full review. And obviously I will be comparing it to the S25 Ultra, the iPhone 16 Pro Max, the Pixel 9 Pro XL. So many videos coming, so definitely stay tuned. Now, if you guys have any questions on this phone, definitely drop me your comments down below. And if you enjoyed today's video, definitely click that like button. It's free for you, but it helps me and the channel out a lot, and I always truly appreciate it. And if you're new here, you like tech videos, definitely subscribe. And as always, this was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.